Hey guys, Cameron from Manga Reviews. Today I'm going to be reviewing Dr. Stone. I hope you enjoy. Welcome to the post-apocalyptic world of Dr. Stone, where the world is in ruins from a blast of green light that's turned all humans into stone for thousands of years. Doesn't that sound like fun? Well, if you'd like to know more about what I'm talking about, I suggest you keep watching. If you disagree with anything I've said in this video, we'd love to hear from you and discuss it in the comments below. And if you're new to this channel, how about subscribing? Dr. Stone is an interesting scientific anime about a strange phenomenon that causes every human in the world to be turned to stone, becoming cemented in this stone form for thousands of years. During this time, Taiju, one of our main characters, has been keeping his consciousness alive within the stone. Also, he can continue what he'd started before the world changed. This being confessing his love to his classmate and crush of 5 years, Yuzuriha, although he may have to wait a little longer than he expected. After nearly 3,700 years of the world being this way, Taiju awakens from the dormant state his body has been in. He finds himself in a cave with a drastically changed environment around him. Buildings have crumbled and nature has taken back the land. The first thing he does is get his bearings so he can find where he believes Yuzuriha to be. Upon finding her statue, he discovers he isn't alone in this new stone world. His best friend Senku had woken 6 months earlier before and has been surviving in this new harsh world on his own. However, Senku is extremely intelligent and is completely methodical in how he approaches everyday occurrences. During this time, he had managed to build a small treehouse and basic tools to keep him alive, all to get him started on his ultimate goal of rebuilding civilization. The plot for this anime took a rather different approach to what I was initially expecting. For example, the show has hints of multiple aspects of well-known ideas all blended into a story that feels new by comparison to what is currently out there. For me, my first thought on where the direction of the story was going to go was more so focused on how to free people from the stone that was encasing them. However, I wasn't quite on the money with this as they figured out how to free people by the end of the first episode. They do this by using a special miracle fluid, being the concoction of alcohol and nitric acid that Senku discovers after a year of experimentation. The direction of the plot takes a big turn after they free Tsukasa, a hulking beast of a man. However, they only do this out of desperation as they are about to be eaten by lions. This is when the real direction of the anime begins to show as Senku and Tsukasa's ideals clash. Senku wants to save as many people as he can so he can rebuild civilization the way that it was. However, Tsukasa only wants to revive the young, so that he can build a new world uncorrupt by the greed of the older generations and allowing the strongest to survive. Senku knows that he isn't physically strong enough to be able to take on Tsukasa, even with the help of Taiju, so he plans to keep the secret of the miracle fluid to himself. However, after Tsukasa takes the newly freed Yuzuriha hostage, Senku does the first illogical thing he's done in his life, and gives up the information to save her. This has him almost killed, but brilliant Senku has another plan to keep an eye on Tsukasa from afar, while he creates a way to stop him. Now it seems like I've basically described the whole anime, but all of this happens in the first quarter of the season. This anime is just jam-packed with things going on and I love it. The amount of detail that has gone into the science of this anime is fantastic. Everything that Senku does to advance himself in technology is real-world applicable, like the way he makes soap out of seaweed and oil or mortar out of shells and sand. Everything he does is rooted in science. The plot progresses rather quickly as it chugs through information, setting up the world in the first 3 to 4 episodes, then settling down once Senku and Tsukasa have their clash of ideals. At this point, Senku has smaller milestones he's trying to reach to achieve progression in his kingdom of science. These milestones, like creating iron and magnets, are changing and progressing as more spontaneous situations are thrown his way, making for very entertaining episodes that keep you wanting more. Not only is the plot full of depth and thought, but each character is interesting in their own motives for being driven. The obvious being Taiju. His drive keeping him conscious while being encased in stone was so he could confess to Yuzuriha and tell her that he had had a crush on her for 5 years. is. He is also driven by his desire to help Senku, his childhood friend, rebuild civilization. He knows that he isn't the smartest person, and so does everything he can to help out with all the physical labor. Senku is a very relaxed kind of person, but when the going gets tough, he can make split-second decisions while staying calm and collected. His motives seem pretty surface level until you're provided with some backstory to his childhood. As a young boy, it is his dream to go to space, so he dedicates himself to science to achieve this. Senku studies and learns everything and anything he needs so that he can get to space. His drive is to rebuild civilization so he can fulfill that dream, something that would not be possible without science and a world that celebrates it. Unlike the world that the antagonist Tsukasa wants to build, which is a brutal world where only the young and strongest live, all ruled by him. His background is shrouded in mystery as not a lot is revealed about him within the first half of the anime. However, his stance is made very clear that he does not want the world to return to the way that it was, and that he wants to purify the world with this opportunity at a fresh start. There are a few other characters that play a big role in the series, but I don't want to ruin them too much or reveal too much about their history, as it would be a bit too spoilery for the plot. However, what I can say is that they are integral to Senku to beat Tsukasa, as they possess resources and information that he doesn't have. Moving on to the animation though, each of the characters looks clean and crisp, but they somehow feel out of place in scenes due to the thick dark borders around their outlines. This does make them stand out in comparison to the backgrounds. There are a few moments where the faces contort in strange ways that can be a little off-putting, but other than that, the characters are well designed with a great deal of thought being put into their composition. For example, the black lines in the characters' faces are actually relevant to the plot, as they are cracks left behind in their skin from when they were encased in stone. I'd also like to mention how gorgeous the backgrounds look. I mean, gaze upon this. It actually looks near realistic. This show stands out and really manifests the potential quality of animation in anime at the moment. Also, with the great use of lighting to show the seasons and time of day, this anime really accentuates how detailed a series can look, accompanied by an excellent use of soundtrack that really pulls you into the world that it's creating, making those emotional points hit that little bit harder. The opening Good Morning World is a great opening that wakes you up and gets you ready for the excitement of the episode that is to come. With its straight to the point beat, this alternative rock song just pumps you up and exudes joy with its use of electronic guitar and clear percussion that's evenly paced. I didn't have issue with the English used within the opening, as sometimes this may be used to add more to the song. This track becomes reliant on it. The band Burnout Syndromes does an excellent job of creating this, nothing but respect. I highly recommend you check out their music video, as it is pretty relevant to the anime. This is an opening that will go down in history as a classic with the likes of One Punch Man's and Cowboy Bebop's openings, for its immediate hook and upbeat tone. In comparison, the closing Life by Route A is a more mellow song and brings you down after the high you are on from Good Morning World, with its relaxed musical tone and calming effect. It's also a good song on its own with its Japanese synth pop vibe to it. Ultimately, this anime subverted my expectations of where I thought the main plot was going to go, thinking that it was going to be heavily based on trying to free people from their stone casings. But it flipped this on me, and more so was about the political and ideological side of things and what happens when two opposing opinions clash. I really enjoyed this subversion, as it kept a lot of the series shrouded in mystery, and nothing makes for an entertaining series like Mystery. The actual plot itself is executed well, aside from the data dump in the first few episodes. However, it's not an excess of information, it just seems like a lot of things happening in a short period of time. That being view time, because in the series itself, it's more like a year that passes. Thinking about it, what happened to the people that were turned to stone during surgery or giving birth or any awkward situation like that? I'd definitely like to see it touched upon in the series, as it would be interesting to see how that would have unfolded. With all that being said, I'm giving Dr. Stone an A. This is definitely an anime that will go down in history as one of the greats, just for its interesting premise and execution of a post-apocalyptic world. However, it is only the first season, so I cannot give it a higher rank. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I do hope you enjoyed, and I would be honored if you liked our video and subscribed to our channel, as it really helps us out. And hopefully we see you all again in the next video. See ya!